Alright everyone, welcome back to another TA episode on Binance Coin. If you're new to the channel, warm welcome. In this video, I'm specifically going to be focusing on the macro charts for BNB USD, but way more importantly, we're going to be checking out how BNB is performing against BTC. I know a lot of people are only interested in the USD targets, but I believe that when we are capitulating into these bearish phases, we should be looking at how altcoins are performing against Bitcoin. So first of all, let's start off with BNB USD because the last video we made for this, it was a little while ago. I don't cover Binance on my channel every day or every week, but I did highlight we were in a very nasty bear flag, and specifically on BNB USD, I told you this would be the last line in the sand. For BNB BTC, I told you I believe that we are about to break to the downside of this pattern, and we're going to be looking at how that panned out, coming towards the latter half of this video. But I really want to focus. I don't even want to draw any micro fibs. I'm saying that, but I'm going to draw a micro fib anyway. 0.5 Fibonacci as well. You can see there is a tiny bit of support at 278. The Fibonacci up here is about 280, but we're sitting at the last line in the sand right now for BNB. You can see if we zoom out since the, this was the all-time high. Let's just call this the local high. Since the local high, we've been getting battered underneath the EMA ribbons, and we've also been getting battered underneath the 13 EMA. You can see every time we came up, and yes, they did fire out bullish. That this was actually a fake out, because you can see we did not flip the EMA ribbons here. We got rejected from the top of them, came down into the 13 EMA. We flipped the EMA ribbons. This was when you needed to see a back test and then breaking above the invalidation point. What did we see? We came up, back tested it, came up, M'd out, broke down, confirmed it as resistance, broke down, M'd out again, and since then we've just been M'ing out, M'd out into a bear flag, bear flagging down, and now we are breaking down. So this is exactly what we talked about in the last video, and I do think we are getting ready for that big break to the downside. You can see we are starting to slip below this resistance. If we come over, well, this is previous support flipped to, it looks like it's getting flipped as resistance. This is the third time that we've actually the fourth time if you're considering this 4-hourly capitulation, but this is the fourth time we've capitulated below the 618 Fibonacci. And as I always say in my videos, support and resistance gets weaker and weaker the more times you come up to it. So for example, if it was the other way around, if we were down here and we kept going boom, 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 I'd say, it's getting weaker and weaker and we're more likely to break up. But it's the same on the downside. If you keep on coming boom, 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 it's more likely that you're going to break to the downside. People say, double bottoms, triple bottoms. How many times have you heard of a quadruple bottom or an octuplet bottom or etc, etc, etc? It just doesn't happen, because the more times you do come down to these ranges, the more likely it is that you are going to break down after so many attempts. And I do believe we're gearing up for that right now. We don't have a crazy amount of volume coming in over on Binance. We've got about 125,000 sold in the past 4 hours. It is kind of rivaling these bearish candles that we've had before, so I do kind of expect us to push down, but the sellers have not really stepped into the market yet. So what we're seeing at this moment in time could just be I would say the cherry on the top of the cake, but that's not more so over to the end. This could be the start of the downtrend that we are about to witness, and bear in mind, this bear flag is perfectly like, look at this level of confluence from the breakdown that we broke down on. Actually, let me move this over a tiny bit, because we actually broke down here, we confirmed it as resistance there. We're literally almost on the dot of the 786. So the 786 fib is down here 168. The bear flag target's down here at 163. By the way, if you are new to my channel, when you do look at my support and resistance lines, you might notice that there are these orange horizontal lines in the sand. I like to distinguish between support, resistance ranges, and Fibonacci. So if you see, for example, a red line like this will simply be a resistance zone. If you come down and you see a green line like this will be a support zone. If you see an orange horizontal ray, this is identifying that there is a Fibonacci on this target. So here, 618 fib is this orange line, 786 fib is the next line down, and in my opinion, we are going to be heading down to the next level. Now, I'd love to draw micro fibs and talk about what could we expect in the next couple of days, but the fact of the matter is, I only really cover Binance every week or two, so I'm much more interested in these macro moves, and that's exactly what I talked about in the last video. I was saying that we're going to break down below this 618, we're going to come all the way down to the 786. You can see the breakdown from this bear flag would be approximately about 46% moves. As of where we are right now, this is a 41.5% move. This is what I'm predicting to pan out next over on Binance. Now, before we head over to the BTC pair, I want to talk about the 1 hourly time frame EMA ribbons, or sorry, not the EMA ribbons, the squeeze one, which is our momentum indicator, is starting to head over into the light red. This is indicative that, you know, we've got a bearish wave, we're turning over into dark red, meaning bears are either taking a break or bulls are trying to take back the trend. And then the worst thing that can possibly happen is, you know, going over to light red, going back into dark red, meaning you're taking a break, and then switching over into light red. This means that the bears have taken a break and they're ready for their next wave. For example, you can see here, you know, light red, dark red, and then switch over to green, you know, you go into a minor bullish trend. But what you see here, where you see, you know, a dump, you get a momentum reset, and then you start to switch over into light red, and then light red again, you can see this was happening from about 329, and we momentum shifted all the way down to 291. So the last time this happened, the last time we had a macro market momentum shift like this was actually when we were sitting right here at the top of this wick. Now, bear in mind, I'm not even cherry picking the data. I could have drawn this from the top here. I'm not drawing it from the top. I'm drawing it from when the momentum shift happened. And I mean, it wasn't anything too crazy, but it was about a 12.36% drop. Bear in mind, the market cap was very, very high then. The lower the market cap goes, and the market cap is diminishing over time, you can imagine that it takes a lot less price action to make the price swing up and down a lot quicker. So as I think we are, you know, losing market cap and heading down, a lot of people think we're going to start slowing the descent. But the fact of the matter is, you zoom out to the weekly time frame, and we're literally just setting up for this capitulation. Now, I also want to talk about the daily and the weekly squeeze one just very, very momentarily. Actually, 4 hourly time frame. Once again, you can see bearish reset, fake out. This fake out was is what I like to call bunny hill. You can see a bunny hill over on the squeeze one where we head up for these micro impulses, and all of the time you see these micro impulses over on the squeeze one correlate to a rejection over on the EMA ribbons. You get these little runs up where bulls try to take control. They come up because they probably come up above the 1 hourly EMAs, which is why they start, you know, flipping bullish in the lower time frames. Like here you can see fake out, but 4 hourly time frames you get bunny hill, bunny hill, bunny hill, bunny hill, and it's not followed up by any bullish price action, not followed up by any bullish volume, and because of that we roll down to our next trend shift, and we're getting ready for that right now. The last time we had a trend shift over into the bearish side of the squeeze one was right here. It was halfway down from the move, so about 7.5% drop from where we are now. Oops. You can expect, if we do have another 7.5% drop, that's going to take us down to 267. I'm not really interested in that 5% drop. I'm interested in the fact that that would pull us below the 618, and at that point in time, we would probably be shifting all the way down to the 618. Within the next couple of weeks, bear in mind, within the next month or so. I'm really not saying that because we've broken down from 280 right now that in the next couple of days it's going to come into fruition. Bear in mind, BNB is number 5 in terms of all the cryptos. Its market cap is absolutely exceptionally high. So, you know, I don't think this is going to go down that quickly. I think it's going to go down very, very slowly but surely. And also on the weekly time frame, I believe we talked about the daily trickling over into the bearish side of things, and the weekly squeeze mom has just started to have a macro market momentum shift. This is a horrible signal. You can see previously markets, they're always cyclical. You can see we move from bullish waves, bearish waves, bullish waves, bearish waves. But when you see a bearish wave, a bearish reset, and then bears start to step back in the market, it normally always means you've got another massive leg to the downside. And that is what I think we are going to be seeing very, very soon. The only other thing I would like to comment on is the 786 target that I've presented you at $168 down to the bear flag at $162. So a lot of people may be thinking, you know, I'm very, very bearish, or, you know, this target is not going to get hit. This target is completely, you know, pick your word, whatever you want to say. This is outrageous. It's not going to come down this far. Let's see what happened in the 2018 bear market, because like I said, you know, I was actually invested in Binance back in the day down here, and Binance did not hold its 786 Fibonacci. You can see from the low of the trend up to the high, even if you want to, you know, draw it down from here, which I personally wouldn't do, but let's just draw it down here to give it that extra leg, because you can see if I draw it up to here, 786 goes up. If I draw it down to here, there is no other way to make the 786 go lower. And what happened? 786 got temporarily broken to the downside. Once we capitulated below the 786, we moved down another 30% within 1, 2, 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks, because this was obviously the 1 weekly time frame. So, you know, 2.5 weeks, something around that period in time. So I would just like to point out, in bear markets, these cryptocurrencies, they do not hold the 786. Altcoins do not hold macro Fibonacci's in a bear market. It just does not happen. Maybe some cryptos do, but it's a very, very small handful, and I don't think Binance will do. The trend would be your friend on this. I think we're going to break down. So it's probably been quite a long video. I do just want to quickly wrap up on the Bitcoin pair. But what we predicted in the last video was that we were going to have this massive breakdown from this triangle pattern. It's almost like asymmetrical triangle, just slightly pushed back to the upside. But nonetheless, let's just call this a triangle pattern, whatever you want to call it. We have broken to the downside of this. So this is what we were predicting. We said this with Ethereum and BNB, because both Ethereum and BNB were holding up very nicely against their Bitcoin pairs. And I said in the last video, I do not think this is going to hold up for much longer. And we're already starting to see this big capitulation. Now, first of all, I probably should have drawn this down to the 786. Yes, we can bounce on the 0.5, but my macro prediction for us to move down would be down to these ranges down here. Previous all-time high in 2019 against Bitcoin. Bear in mind, this is not against the US dollar, this is against Bitcoin, and this is obviously the BNB BTC pair. So, you know, obviously I've just moved this over now, so I'm not going to say I was predicting this before, but I was predicting a breakdown. We've moved down about 4%. This is absolutely nothing. If you're thinking that BNB is breaking down heavily already, in my opinion, we're going to break down another 45% against the Bitcoin pair. So that's really all I've got. The only other thing I would like to say about BNB, and specifically BNB BTC, is look at the Bitcoin dominance. While the Bitcoin dominance is heading up, Bitcoin is going to outperform altcoins. And separate to that, while Bitcoin is going down, altcoins are likely to follow Bitcoin. So for example, if I just said one of those things, if I said, you know, Bitcoin is going down, that would be one bearish signal. Pair that with the fact that the Bitcoin dominance is going up. What does this mean? This means the Bitcoin dominance is going up, so Bitcoin is going to outperform altcoins no matter what. So if Bitcoin breaks down, then for Bitcoin to outperform altcoins, altcoins would have to drop a lot harder than Bitcoin is. And that's exactly what I'm predicting. I've been talking about this for the past over a month now, well over a month. And it's finally starting to break out of this macro pattern. So be super cautious if you're still trading altcoins. I've been saying it for the past month. I have no problem sounding like a broken record player, but these altcoins are going to get slaughtered against their Bitcoin pairs. That's all I've got for you for BNB. I think we are going to come down a lot more. I think this is the tip of the iceberg that we're seeing. Buckle up. All I've got for you today, as always, Cowboy out. Peace.